Have you ever just looked at something and thought to yourself, man, what do I even say about this thing? Because it just doesn't have anything to talk about? Like, it's something that works as intended or has no real flexibility to it that feels almost redundant to talk about it? If so, then this video is unfortunately going to be just that. I talked about Subin 2 a while ago, so I feel like it's time to talk about another Subspace move. And that is his Q. Subspace's Q is Comet Carnage. This move fires out a crystal that explodes when it touches any surface or enemy player. This move also has a windup of 0.5 seconds before actively firing. The crystal will also have a slight arc in its angle when aiming, along with being a somewhat fast projectile that travels through the air. The initial hit will do 20 damage along with 20 poison damage while applying 5% vulnerability on impact. However, this attack also spawns a gas cloud that lingers for 7.5 seconds, or when Subspace dies when the gas cloud active. This gas cloud does 4 damage a second, along with 8% vulnerability and 8% slowness for every second an enemy waits in the gas cloud hitbox. This gas cloud also can damage Subspace himself, but it won't damage any of his teammates for obvious reasons. Other than that, the 16-second cooldown starts as soon as you use the ability, and that's it. No, seriously, that's the entire move. It's pretty uneventful, but it is a pretty good move. The best use you have for this move is by using it on very bulky fighters, mainly Katana and Banhammer, as they need the Vuln and forces them to move to not take too much Vuln or damage. This move could also be used against healers or other bulky targets, or even as a way to force people off of intended map paths and such, but the way it can deny paths isn't really too helpful. Other than that, it's always best to not use this up close, especially when M2 and E are far better up close as defensive, and especially mobility options. You could also use it against mobile targets like skateboard or even slingshot, but I highly advise doing so. And you could also snipe with it, but why would you do that? This move could also ignore line of sight hitboxes, so you could attack through the floors of ROBLOX HQ or the glass panels of Crater Dust, for example. It also moves slightly forward if you do launch it straight up, as the arc allows it to slightly go forward and also drop down. Oh, crap, what else? What else is there? Oh! It also has unique sound effects across gesture space and griefer space, along with differing visual effects, which is mainly noticeable in the gas cloud. However, because the fighting devs are smart game designers, the visuals don't change the hitbox and the gas cloud hitbox remains a some big square. I guess I could also talk about the old Sub Q, which, as my old guide from April 9th, 2023, oh my god, that's old, states that it's a great close range tool. It would honestly suck to use now. This move was insanely awkward to use, and I'm glad it has changed because the old Q would not fit on Subspace at all. How time flies, I guess. Like, this old Q had no damage over time effects or arc. It was a weird set distance move that did little damage and had an 8-second cooldown. It was carried by the fact the vulnerability cap was at 75 during this time, so Q could apply 25% vulnerability if it connected. Hearing the vuln cap being 75% does not sound real today, man. Also, my lord, this video is old and my pronunciation from this video was horrible. And in the current day, that has barely changed one single bit. So, yeah, that's all I got to really say. That's Sub Q, I guess. Comet Carnage, despite its insanely cool name, is pretty simple. Despite how much I had to say about Fallen Star, it feels odd that I don't have much to say about this move. I guess a simple move is sometimes great when another move has so many uses to list that it practically becomes the button you press to do everything. And maybe that's the fun of having a move like Sub Q. It's simple, but it's good. Thanks for watching, I guess. You can leave a like for the algorithm, and that's all I got to say. See you next time.